All right, Jay, day 5 of Oilers rookie camp. Maybe just tell me how you think the guys have progressed up to this date.
Well, I would say that the coaching staff's extremely happy with the work ethic level of our players. They're coming to the rink every day with good enthusiasm, a desire to learn a little bit more, and then to go out and execute on the ice. I think I was quite pleased with lots of things throughout the 5 days. We saw some good things in the game, some things that needed to get cleaned up. We've worked on those and addressed them in a meeting setting as well, and happy with the progression so far for sure.
I know it is a camp, and you don't necessarily want the X's and O's to be taught at this early stage of the season, but how much are you able to teach the guys the language of both the Bakersfield Condors and the Edmonton Oilers at events like this?
Well, what I think you want to do is you want to give them a basic framework for how the organization wants the game to be played. Yeah, you don't want to bog them down and try and manage every breath they take on the ice and whatnot. You got to understand that we've only been around this group of players right now for basically 3.5 practices. So, it's not so much about the execution part of the systems. It's about giving them a basic framework of how we want the game to be played. We want them to bring their effort and will, and when you do that within the framework, a basic framework of team system, that allows your skills to come out. So those are the big things for us, is making sure that they're controlling what they can control, which is their effort, and trying to adhere to what basic principles that we've laid out for them.
One thing I thought was really interesting, you didn't do today, but you used the television monitor to show guys specific plays in a game or just certain scenarios. What was the reason for using that, and how do you think it's kind of worked on the players so far?
Well, it's a screen generation, right? So we're just trying to get creative with how we get our point across. I believe that you have to really be careful as a coach not to dump too much information on people, and so as a result, our meetings are brief and succinct and to the point. That day that you saw us implement the monitor on the bench, the reason we did that is we introduced a new theme. So we had a theme before practice, we went out and executed it, and then we introduced something new. We didn't want to overload them with all that information before practice. So we brought the monitor to the bench and very quickly went over that theme that we were working on, and I thought the players responded really well and executed right after, and they did it all while having a little bit of a water break, so it was good timing.
Just to add to that, is that maybe something, say in a game situation, they look at a video monitor to see what went down on that certain play. Is that a reason why you wanted them to get used to the screen now, so they can do it during a game as well?
Yeah, I think that helps, but it really where that happens is in the NHL. So most of the guys here, are that would be the first time they would be, shown those type of things on monitors and whatnot, and so I think that it makes it a little easier that if they get into an NHL exhibition game and one of the assistant coaches is showing something on an iPad or on the screens down below, they can do that. But for me, more than anything, it was just a teaching tool to make sure that we introduced a theme. We didn't want to go off the ice. We didn't want to flood the ice. We wanted to use our time as wisely as possible while introducing a little bit of a new theme. And like I said, I think the players responded to it.
Two guys we spoke to today are Jacob Stukel and Steven Yacobelis, and they're expected to make the jump. They both signed AHL deals this offseason. What do you see from those two and what they could maybe do next year?
Well, I think both of those players are early into their professional careers. They have both produced good numbers in the East Coast Hockey League, so they're on the cusp of trying to establish themselves as American Hockey League level players. Jacob Stukel came in and played some games for us down the stretch last year. He left an impression on the coaching staff. He put up decent numbers in the American League. He represented a speed dimension that when we wanted to inject some legs into our lineup, we felt good about putting him in there. He stayed with us through our entire playoff run, and I think that opened his eyes in terms of the level of the intensity in the American Hockey League. The farther along you go, I think he worked hard in the summertime, and he earned that AHL ECHL two-way contract. So I'm excited to see him progress moving forward here through the month of September. Ike Abellis, it's my first exposure to him, but I know that he's a solid player in the East Coast Hockey League. Just in my short time around him, I know that he's intelligent. He picks up concepts quickly, and both those guys are looking to come into Bakersfield's camp and compete to earn a spot with the Bakersfield Condors, and then go from there. So. They're taking it a day at a time, and they'll show us where they're at in terms of where they fit with their peer group down in Bakersfield.